So slade, as we say it, I think the way I see it is that 150 years ago, approximately, slade was something you did to just survive. You made your own wooden tools, your spoons, all the equipment you need for your daily farming life, and you produced your clothes, and you sew everything from scratch and made everything from scratch. So I think slade was more integrated to surviving or just living as a farmer in this region. And it's a good way to focus on something. Like for me, I think knitting was the first thing I encountered and started to learn, and it immediately brought me some kind of calmness to a very busy surrounding. I could always like handicraft, or I keep my hands doing something. So for me personally, it's bringing a lot of like inner satisfaction and good mental feelings, and I'm not producing for surviving, but it still has like a lot of meaning for me personally now.
In Holland, we don't have this tradition in the same way left as we have it here around Dalarna, but also in the rest of Sweden. It's like a whole different country in that way. I think also Dalarna, this was like poorer like in the 1800s than in the Netherlands. And there already the revolution started, the Industrial Revolution, quite early. And people wanted to throw away all these old things that you did with your hands. You should buy new things. And that was starting there then. But here it is still left, like, and it's even today, kids are learning in school very early how to make knives and how to use knives and how to do things with your hands, like, and that's very important. And I also think, as you said, like, it is giving you this like thing that you can do things with your hands and your brains are helping you and you can make a lot of things, and you also get more down to earth. I mean, these days, today, it's also a very modern society, and we are like all working with computers a lot, like, and then this craft is getting us back to basics and somehow. So that's how I feel for crafts in Dalarna, and yeah, it's giving you an inner peace somehow. There are really strict rules about this with like how folklore and how these clothes should look like. Every village is having their own way of wearing it. They have their own, how do you say, patterns, like of how it should fit and how this should be and how the skirt should be woven, what kind of colors you're using. Like, so that is a very particular for every village. And from the old days, it is a little bit like that you cannot just mix this stuff. Like, you have to have it just as it should be in the villages. And it's very particular. You can say, like, this is coming from Leksand and that one is coming from Mora. These whole different things. And it's like holy, and somehow you're not allowed to mess up that. But now, these days, like maybe started 5 years ago, people are starting to get out of that. I want to do like, they want to mix it, and I want to take a piece from Skåne, that's in the south of Sweden, with a piece maybe from Dala-Floda, and combine it and do all these hair things and this like, and then you get a very nice, beautiful mix that I myself like very much. But there is, from origin, it's quite a lot of rules that you have to keep yourselves to. You were once getting a reaction when you were going to the supermarket and you had the jeans on and you had a part on the upper part from the traditional clothes, and you got people to react on you in a very, you didn't expect that, did you?
Exactly.
Maybe you want to tell about it. No, I don't know. No, but it is like very much, and it's like there's two leagues, you could say. There's a league that wants to have everything traditional, it should be as always has been, and there's also a league that says like, we can modernize this, we can like do a development and build our own things also. Well, I came to Sätergläntan. I was doing art school in Holland. I'm from the Netherlands. I was doing art school there like for 5 years, and I've always been interested in craft. Like, I had a grandmother that was spinning a lot and we were weaving things together and all that. Then my life was starting in Sweden many years later. I've been living here for 30 years and been working like a total different thing, like marketing and communication, even though there's a lot of form and color and stuff there also, making ads and like all these kind of things. But this thing with like textiles and also the awareness I got when I got to live here in Dalarna, where they have a very strong traditional heritage, was making that I was feeling that I wanted to go back to my roots, like go back to the thing with the textile that I was doing on art school actually. And then when I got the opportunity with my job to do something else in my life, and I also was getting this thing that if I want to do something, I shall not wait. I have to do it now. Like soon it can be over. You never know. And I knew about Sätergläntan because we were working together at my old job with the ambassadors we had in Sätergläntan also. So I knew the school was existing. So when I got the chance, I asked to come here and start weaving. So that's how it started for me, Sätergläntan.
I moved here to Dalarna 5 years ago, and I moved actually to Dalarna because I knew, and also Dala-Floda because I knew it was a bit of a craft village, and I already had books and I knew different techniques that they were actively doing. So I thought it would be great because I was studying architecture and I wanted to do something else. So I moved here and I became a farmer instead. And then I did craft always in the evenings. I started to learn how to weave. I started to join the local Hemslöjd association that is really working towards getting people to be active in crafting. So arranging different kinds of things and start to teach knitting and so on. And then after I knew the school's existence, and it just felt like a matter of time when I was about to start here. And then we had our encounter 2 years ago, me and the school. So I was here a little bit before in different settings. But the textile somehow came from all angles, and I felt like I really want to do this as a profession somehow. It's quite hard to know exactly how to work with slöjd and craft weaving after the studies here, but somehow it will be figured out, I think. I think I was buying alcohol actually, and I just wear this part of the traditional clothing, and then I had civil clothing in the rest, and that can create a reaction in some people that I'm using it in the wrong way or I'm not respecting. I think it's a matter of disrespect that people feel, because I'm also not from here, and to just come here and dress and take some parts I like and really change things is for some people quite a sensitive topic. And I think it's also important to think a little bit about or just have some knowledge of how where this comes from, why are people dressed in the same way.
I can agree with that. I don't mean that we should mix everything, but no, it's true. You have to think about it also. Why is it like that? It has been for a long time.
But it is interesting with, like you said, intricate patterns and very, very, very much decorative clothing and textiles in the house. And I think it's amazing how you can find just a little bit of textile and then it's very embroidered or it's very decorative, and it's so hard to imagine, or it's so wonderful to see that in the old days they cared so much for decorating things and really care for how things were in the environment. And I think, the wedding dress or the wedding clothing from Dala-Floda when you get married, they have it's full decoration, whatever you can find. So you have like bracelets with glass pearls. You make paper flowers in the hair. It's like full on everything. And today we see almost a Christmas tree, but it's. I think it was in some specific days you had the chance to show off somehow, and it shows skill. It shows that you care. It shows what you're capable of. I think in the old days, dressing up with handmade clothes with beautiful embroidery says a lot about who you are as a person and what you have to give to the household. So we are 60 students approximately. We can take in 60 students at this school, and it's a 3-year program, 1 to 3 years, in either weaving, sewing, wood class, or blacksmithing. And 40 people can live at the school, so it's also a boarding school with a restaurant, and the other 20 they live, like me and Debby, we don't live at the school. We come here every day. So it's pretty much from 8:40 to 4:20. And we have scheduled time where we, in weaving, for example, learn different historical techniques. And we have different tasks and different courses. And now we do like this linen weaving, for example. And now we do this skirt weave reconstruction, and like it's very well structured of how to learn different things, and through the years you really progress and advance in the way the tasks are formed.
Yeah, it's very much like you say. I don't have so much to add, but it's very structured, as you say. We have these different programs, and we learn a lot of techniques. We try to go through a lot of them. The thing is also that in the beginning you think you learn something, and but the longer you are here, the more you realize that you don't know so much about weaving. Of course we've been learning a lot, but it's so much left to learn afterwards. It's not just to go to school and think you can do something. I think this process of becoming a professional is starting when you already with school and start to work with your art, or with the things that you want to do. But for me, at least, I mean, they are maybe working with tradition in the way that they have traditional weaving and traditional patterns, and they break that out and then do something new with it. So, for example, now I have Amber Jensen in my head. She's an American artist. I think she's having roots also but I'm not sure about that, in Scandinavia. But she's making beautiful things, and I'm looking at it like, yes, exactly, that's how it should be like. And there are a lot of other also. I like these weaving artists that are making big things and experimenting and all that. So I'm leaving this traditional path of making just like these clothes or this cloth for the clothes and everything. But I take that with me in my work also, even though I just at the moment do something else. But and I love to see that these things are growing out and develop into something new that is contemporary. So that is I like to see that. And these days it's so nice. You have a lot of books. Of course, we have a fantastic library, but there's also Instagram and internet and all that, and it's so easy and so nice to get them around you.
I was thinking also about there are many teachers here, for example, and there are many people I know from the local Hemslöjd Association that are. We have one, for example, in my village that is also working in a museum, and she's very enthusiastic, having courses, and now she's having a person that is learning her craft and working next to her. And there are so many people that I see that are so good at encouraging people and to teach and being very pedagogical about to transfer this message of why it's important to still learn craft in these days, and that we are so many people that really are engaged in just keeping this alive. And I can really see that in many teachers here at the school that is like really lives for it, and it's good to have these role models so close to you that really care for the things they're doing. So I think good teachers and people around you that is really engaged is very inspiring. I think I'm more there right now than and then bigger artists, but of course I get inspired by big works, like personally in my own work. I heard an interview, I think it was 2 days ago, and I think she mentioned something important, like a student from this school, and she said, like, we have textiles around us, and we will probably have as long as we live, and someone's got to have the knowledge of how to produce them, like how to weave a towel. Someone's got to carry that knowledge. It's quite basic somehow. And I think that too, and I do ask myself many times, like, why is it important to me to do this? Because it's not really like we are wanted on the work market. It's not like people are really hunting for our knowledge, but it feels like we have to also build up this answer to ourselves, like, why is it important to have this knowledge? Because it's right now in this context we are at, it's not really valuable or valued, I would say. But it really brings, like I was talking about the threads before, like when you really do things from scratch, I think you really create an understanding where things come from. And I think it's so important to know in order to respect things and just understand how much sources we tend to use. Like it feels like we have a bit of a division of what a human is and what nature is, and somehow to link them together by really from the fibers try to create things and understand that it's quite difficult. And I think we have to keep the knowledge of how to make things in order for us to care about things too, which I think is important.
And also maybe in order to understand other things, like, I mean, if you know where things are coming from and how to make them, you can also start to understand like more difficult things, or maybe like, you know, nowadays things like in a better way, like. But I don't know, like, no. No, but I think that could be, it's also interesting, like, go back to your basics, where we come from, how are we treating the earth, like, in our own, like, minds, like, and how are we, like, dealing with all this new technology, which we cannot be without, and which also is great in many ways. But I think even though it's more important to know, like, that these basics, they are, like, giving us, like, some common sense.